Hello YouTubers, you are watching Just Do It Yourself channel, and today we have 2012 Dodge Grand Caravan and we will be replacing a thermostat on this car, and it is located just on the left hand side where you can see the bleeder, the upper radiator hose. That's where the thermostat is. So here is the new one. It gates, I will leave a link in the description so you can buy it online. Please check those out. So now I'm under the vehicle and I would like to quickly show you why I'm replacing it. So there is a leak under the thermostat and all the lower radiator hoses, the AC lines, like all that. It looked like the low radiator hose is leaking, and I thought that was the case for a while, but when I started inspecting it, apparently it's dripping all the way from the top. So we will get the thermostat out, we'll check the reason why it's leaking, and we'll replace it with the new one. Okay, so to start, you need to make sure that your vehicle is cold, the coolant is not hot and not under the pressure. So there is that drain valve. We have a hose, I think it's 3/8 going to the canister. So now I'll just open this and we'll start draining coolant. We need to open the radiator cap. So quickly one more time, the engine has to be cold, because if it's hot, this will be under pressure. So we will open the radiator cap, and that will allow coolant to drain. So now you can see that coolant is coming through the hose into the canister. So in terms of the thermostat change, you might also have an engine code that will tell that basically engine running cool, the thermostat is not open. So that's another reason to replace it. In general, the thermostat is good for around 8 years. So if yours is above that and you're having issues with engine heating up, that's probably most likely is your issue. I won't be changing coolant completely because I changed it recently. But if you change the coolant, you only need to make sure this is the reservoir. So, and there is a hose going from the radiator to the reservoir, so you want to make sure that you empty the reservoir too, because there could be a significant amount of coolant still in the reservoir when you drain. So just to change the thermostat, I will drain probably like 2 liters of coolant, maybe a bit more, and then I will start unbolting the thermostat. Right, so next step, when you have your coolant drained, is to remove the upper radiator hose. That is this piece. So there's a clamp on top of it, so you remove clamp and then you pull out the hose. You will expect some coolant to come out, so make sure you have a catch tray underneath. Alright, so to remove that hose clamp, you can probably use just a Channellock pliers. That's what I used before. Right now I have this special tool, so there is a cable, so you put those wires on top of the clamp, then you press it and it compresses your hose clamp. So whatever is available for you, both things would work. One would be easier than the other one, but I've done lots of just with Channellock pliers or vice grips, like, because you can lock those also, so your choice. But those are on my Amazon store, so if you want to buy those, check those out. Not expensive at all. Alright, so those pliers work like a charm, actually better than I expected. So you can see that I have moved the hose clamp down and it's still holding it, so I'll keep it like that. Next, I need to remove the hose, and usually to remove the hose you need to break the seal, and the easiest way to break the seal is to go with the pick, put it under the hose and just go all the way around. In this case, kind of like this. There's not much room at all to show. This will be a video about more talking than showing. But basically you put your pick and you just go the way around to break the seal. Another way, what I normally do is just take the big Channellock pliers and try to spin that hose on the thermostat. Okay, so now I'll try to remove the hose. You probably won't be able to see much, but basically you grab the hose. As I said, you try to break the seal as much as you can. Now you just wiggle it out. So the hose is off. There was a little bit of coolant. It went out. That's why we have that catch tray underneath. So now just a matter of removing the thermostat to 10mm bolts. Alright, so the top one I was able to get was the electrical ratchet, and the bottom one is a little bit tough. You cannot see it, so we'll need to use a deep socket 10mm and a small 1/4 inch ratchet. And again, cannot show much, so well, that's how you would do it. Quite simple. As long as you get it loose, it should be going just with your fingers. Don't really need to use the ratchet as long as you can grab the socket. So here is the bottom bolt and the top one exactly the same. So now we'll pull out the thermostat. So as I mentioned before, the issue was that it was leaking from a gasket. Not sure why. It was replaced probably like 4 years ago. So, and with this design, like you make it tight, there's bushings so that you cannot break the housing by over tightening. You don't want to over tighten, you don't want to strip the thread, but it was leaking, so we won't risk replacing the gasket. We'll replace entire thermostat. I'll try to stick the camera in there, just maybe you'll better see where the thermostat sits, how it sits, where the bolts go. So at this point we'll just take a paper towel, clean it around, and put the new one back in. Okay, now we're ready to put the new thermostat in, and we'll just start with the top bolt. So we'll lower it down, we'll get it started. The nice thing was this thermostat, they come with this housing, which is, oh, now I dropped my bolt, which is nice that you don't need to align the thermostat in the motor, because it's important to put it in a correct way. So that part is easy, you just put your bolts in and it's aligned. So the top is started. We'll do the same for the bottom one. And if your bolts are nice and clean, as I said, like, it will be easy to put those bolts in just with your fingers and then get them tight. Okay, so the thermostat is snug now. So next we'll go ahead and torque it to 106 inch-pounds. So it's quite important, and as we already saw, the thermostat housing has those bushings inside, so you shouldn't worry about crashing the thermostat body, but it's mostly making sure that you don't strip the bolt, and also you want it to be tight enough so it doesn't leak. So there's not much room. Need to find the way this torque wrench fit together with my hand, like that. So that's 106, and we'll do the same for the bottom one. Okay, now both bolts are torqued, so I'll just grab that upper radiator hose and put it back on the thermostat. It will go easy that way. So now we'll just grab our magic pliers, compress it a bit more, and then push that hose clamp up. And ideally you want it to be the exact spot where it was before, and to be it straight, because if it gets crooked there's a big chance for leak. Just snap it back a bit. It seems like they're good, so now I'll just release those pliers. And we are done with the thermostat replacement. So next you'll need to close your radiator drain plug before you fill it up with coolant. So the thermostat has this bleeder on top. So we will remove it while we are filling the system with coolant. Just get it off. Need to use a screwdriver, but in general it should come with your fingers. So this is that plug. Okay, to fill the system up, I'm using the panel kit. So there is this adapter that you put in. I will leave a link in the description to the video. All the parts and tools that you will need for the job. Check those out. We put the funnel in. You make sure that the drain plug is closed, the bleeder is open on the thermostat, and we will start filling. Okay, so in terms of the coolant, what type of coolant you should use, doesn't matter, honestly, as long as you use good quality concentrate and you mix it with distilled water, you will be fine. The colors do not matter. So you will find different coolants for domestic vehicles, American vehicles, Asian vehicles, European vehicles. It's all the same thing. So now we got the coolant coming from that bleeder, so we need to close that bleeder now. So yeah, one thing you need to consider which climate you run in your vehicle, because 50% coolant is designed for, I think, minus 37. Here in Canada it gets to minus 40, minus 45 a few times. So I'm mixing my coolant with 70-30 ratio. So you don't want to go higher than 70% of coolant, because in that case it gets corrosive. Anytime you replace your coolant, you will get probably, I don't know, 80% displacement or replacement rate. So you will still have 20% of old coolant in a system. So for that reason, when you mix 70-40 at the end, you get like 70-30 at the end, you get 60-40, and that's good till like minus 45, which is kind of ideal for this weather conditions. So now it's bubbling. We removed one full jug of coolant, so it should go all back in, maybe a bit more. There was a small spill. So after it stopped bubble, we take radiator hoses, we press them lower, upper, anywhere we can reach to get rid of all the air. After that, we turn our heater on in the cab, we start the engine, we run until it reaches 90 degrees, and we watch. So the gauge will go to the 90, and then it should drop. The fan should start spinning, and then it will drop. that will indicate that your thermostat has opened. If it does not open, shut the engine down. You don't want to overheat it. Don't open any, like if you already put the cap back on, don't open because it's hot, but we will just run it with this funnel on. I'm still pressing my hoses and getting rid of the air. So if it's overheating, the thermostat does not open, you keep pushing those hoses to get the air out. If it still does not open, leave it so it cools down all the way. Leave it for the night. 99% chance that next morning when you start it will work as it expected. After the first run, so you fill it up, you top up the reservoir on the right hand side. This reservoir, there's a high-low arrows. After the first run, come back, check your level, because usually there's still some trapped air in the system, but after a good run it will come out. So it's important to check it after the first drive. So at this point you can see that almost all the coolant went in as supposed. So at this point, now it's all fluid coming out, no more air. I will start the engine, let it warm up, and do the procedure that I just described. Okay, so now when the engine runs, you watch your level in the funnel. You don't want this to be ever empty. So I have mixed some fresh 70-30 coolant. We'll add it a bit more. And the nice thing about this kit, you can safely remove the funnel with the fluid in it if there is some extra. But at this point, the engine runs, you'll still press the hoses. Watch your fingers, don't put it closer to the fan. But now we just let it warm up to 90 degrees. So the vehicle been running for a while now, and it's getting close to like 70-80 degrees. So another way to check your thermostat is to try this upper radiator hose. So when the thermostat opens, this will become hot. Right now it's still cold as before, so we know that the thermostat hasn't opened, and we still watch the temperature gauge. So our temperature gauge is at 90 right now. So now what we're expecting that the temperature will drop as soon as the thermostat opens, but we need to be there and also check if the hose gets hot, the upper radiator hose, because if this gauge is going more than we expect, we need to shut the engine down. Alright, it's been a few minutes, but now we can feel that this hose is hot. So the thermostat has opened. You can see there's a few bubbles coming out, just like that. So at this point, we're getting to the point where the coolant inside the engine is super hot. So we want to make sure that you protect yourself from any hot bubbles coming out. But now, when the thermostat has opened, we'll run it for a few more minutes, shut it down, and we'll call it done. Alright, so we have shut down the engine. Now we'll just use a plug in this funnel to remove this. And this we'll put into the reservoir. On the other side, we have this coolant reservoir. So we'll run it inside since it's low. And if you flash the light just in that direction, you can see the level. So you want to make sure that that level is good after you first time drive the car, after the coolant change. Next we'll remove this adapter, and we'll put the actual cap on, make sure it's tight. And that should be it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. Please check links in the description to the video to support this channel. Take care, and as always, just do it yourself.